ventilated ICU patients.
What are the CDC guidelines on when you should go to the hospital? And you're proposing a different view.
I am proposing a radically different view. And where I live in rural New England, I drive about 15 miles to a convenience store. And on the front door of my 7-Eleven is a sign, and it says, "You're not going to feel well with COVID. You may have fevers, you may have muscle aches, you may have stomach aches, you're not going to feel well. But don't go to the emergency department." What they're telling people is, go to the emergency department if your fingers or your lips turn blue. And what I'm saying is, I think if we move this window of presentation, if we educate patients to come in earlier, if we can do point of care testing in the ER and know, okay, you have COVID, and then we monitor their oxygen, we can make a dramatic difference.
Doctor, one of the things, though, people are concerned about is if they weren't sick already, that going to the ER, they're definitely going to be sick because that's where all the sick people are, right? There's still this hesitation about having to go to a place full of sick people to be tested, diagnosed, or treated.
So late last night, I got an email from an emergency physician in northern Italy. And he explained to me, we are seeing earlier cases of illness and we're doing much better. And so I immediately asked him, so why is that? He says, well, the patients are no longer scared to come in. And so they diagnosed 250 patients with COVID in the emergency department. They sent every one of them home with a tiny little device, a portable, just consumer grade pulse oximeter. So they sent people home with this tiny little device. 1 out of 20, 5% came back as their oxygen levels started to go down. And they were hospitalized and treated. None of those 250 patients died. If we move this whole management of this disease to earlier identification of who has it, better pulse oximetry monitoring in COVID positive patients, as well as those at greatest risk for serious illness, I think we can dramatically influence how this country faces this problem, how we deal with it economically, how we deal with it just societally and globally.
You're advocating for the use of a pulse oximeter, almost like a thermometer that we have at home.
Yeah, I think we would do much better as a country if in the medicine cabinet of every American was a pulse oximeter and a thermometer. And ideally, a phone call away is a physician who you could talk to about how you're feeling and, hey, these are my numbers. If you are extraordinarily wealthy and you have a concierge physician, this is not a radical concept. This is being done. This has been done with all of these people. And, people say, well, that's going to cause a rush on these and you're going to, it's going to cause a shortage. Well, in the hospital, we use a different one. In the hospital, what we're using is the hospital grade.